So much of what we do is just in time. And of course, one of the biggest innovations in education that's taken place over a long period of time has been YouTube in regard to information dissemination. But it often is mischaracterized as being an educating tool. And I think that's a tremendous difference. Is you can find anything on YouTube, but to find things that are effective in the subject matter area really has to come from the qualification and curation of those materials into something that is by design used to educate. So it's really understanding the just-in-time nature that the student may not be done with the unit in a serial fashion the way we think. Often what I find students doing is looping, so that they'll go forward in a particular unit or a particular area of study, and then they'll loop back to what was existent before as a reference, because they don't necessarily remember the intimacy of command structure, or what that code looked like, or what that CAD model function required them to do. And for me, I take that one step further in that I find that the community of students that are out in industry now are also a great source of help to me to refresh and refine my teaching in the classroom to better prepare those students. Often what I'll do is use my live binder as a tool to invite former students who are now workplace professionals into the process of looking at the information. And that really accomplishes two things. It often refreshes the learning of the individual. It's like, oh, I forgot we did that. And that technical professional who was my former student uses that information as their own tool and their own memory device. But they also are able to look forward and help to say, well, this particular application in this particular lesson, we don't really do it that way in industry. And it doesn't mean that I change everything according to what an individual is suggesting, but I take it as good input. What I find is the bigger benefit, though, is exactly what I think we've just been talking about, and that just-in-time nature of it. By opening up my curriculum, if you will, and the lessons, and being able to host that outside of my learning management system, is also getting a lot of attraction from the community, just in a very passive way from my involvement. In other words, the student who's now a technical professional takes that curriculum with them. Often in a learning management system, once the lesson's done, we close off the lesson, we close the module, we close that learning opportunity. And if the student didn't avail themselves of saving it as a PDF and trying to curate it on their own, they lose the value of that particular project or that particular application. Now I have a way to share that at any point in time going forward. And they may not need it right out of school, but they might need it a year later. And the recollection of what they had in the past is pretty strong. So rather than having it rely on me, I am really pleased that LiveBinders allows me to use it in the classroom and then make it available to my students outside the classroom, which allows me to concentrate learning management on what it needs to be, which is the assessment and the compliance and the creation of content that's specific to meeting a course outcome.